welcome to my desk. As you can see, I have a new setup, 1, 2, check. It's a new setup, but it's not new equipment because I've had this for ages. So I recorded this video, right? And then my whole face was blurry because I didn't put autofocus on it. And it was just like, what a waste of time. And so then I'm back. But actually, I decided to split this video into 2 because I went on and on about my experience as well as like what the video was about. I think it's a little bit of a controversial subject, so I want you to stick with me and stay with me. But basically, we're going to talk about like childhood sexual abuse. Have you been sexually abused? Now, if you don't know me already, I giggle a lot, I laugh a lot. I don't mean to be disrespectful. I make light of things that are like really, really dark. Again, I don't mean to be disrespectful. It's just my survival mode. Otherwise, I don't understand how I would survive if I didn't make light of these things. Also, have you noticed that my hair is different today? So basically, I've got this new hairstyle, and then guess what hairstyle I've been using every single day? Yes, this one, you got it right. Because I'm a very repetitive person, I am. I don't know how it's gonna look like, but whatever. We're here to talk about something important. We're not here to matter what my hair looks like. Okay, right, so I guess we're gonna get on with it. Happy New Year. I'm happy that you're here. I hope that you like my setup. What is that? Is the fire frozen in the background? The fire was totally frozen in the background. When did I even freeze it? Okay, now the fire's unfrozen. Also, I wonder if you can hear the plane in the background. So I'm going to deliberately talk over the plane to see if you can hear it in the background, because apparently this microphone is supposed to cut out all background noises, right? All right, let's just get on with it. Right, story time. So basically, I was listening to my tarot readings, and then this random video came up on my page about this guy who had been sexually abused as a child, and he called it what he called it, and he was like really angry, and it just made me kind of want to speak about this because first of all, I went through, well, I wouldn't call it abuse, which I'm gonna get on to when I do the video about exactly what I went through in my childhood. I wouldn't call what I went through abuse. I don't know why I'm even talking about this because I'm not going to go on about it in this video. So let's just get on with it. Basically, he was sexually abused as a child. He had a stepbrother, and the stepbrother first started to show him like porn, and I'm sure it was like gay porn. And then they started wanking each other off, and then they started sucking each other off, and then I think that the stepbrother decided that he was gonna, I think he was 5 years older than him, and he decided he was going to put his penis up his bum. And then I think that that's when things went a bit left, and then they stopped doing what they were doing because I think that he didn't like the feeling, it hurt, and he didn't want to carry on. And then now 20 years later, it's been 20 years, he wants to talk about it, and I just thought it was the bravest thing for him to say these things. And as he was saying them, I was like, ouch, and it hurts so much. So I just kind of want to talk about this because I think that this has happened a lot in life, and maybe it will bring healing. I don't know, but I definitely want to talk about this. So let's get on with it. So as I said, I went through certain situations where a grown adult did sexual things to me, and then also many, many other things that had happened in my childhood, which I'm going to tell you all about it in the next video. So I do come with experience when having this conversation, right? So for the longest time I could remember, right, I wanted to understand all things. I would watch cartoons, I would watch films, and there will always be a monster in a film, and I will always feel sorry for the monster. Like, why are you a monster? Do you go home and cry? Why are you like this? Who made you into a monster? Are you born a monster? I don't understand. And then for the longest time, I wanted to obviously heal the world, and my role models was Jesus, even though I'm not religious. It was Jesus because of how like innocent he was, or how loving he was, and how much he was a giving person, and how kind he was. So Jesus was always like at the top, and then if there was somebody above Jesus, it would just be angels, and then somebody above angels would just be God, right? So those were my role models as I was growing up, and they're still my role models today. The point is that they have this type of mentality, especially God, where if something is wrong, we take it and we try to fix it, and we love it and we try to fix it. So monsters to me, I can't help but look at them like that. And since I was a little kid, I used to look at them like that. And actually, I thought I was a monster for a long time. And then I ended up doing therapy, and then it ended up coming out that I was actually autistic. And then my autism has certain reactions. So then if something is in my way, I react badly. So I thought I was a monster. So I don't know. And also one of my sisters, she used to call me a monster all the time. She used to say that I was ugly all the time. So I thought that I was a living monster. It's so weird as well, because even now as an adult, why am I a monster? I'm not a monster, I'm a human being. So why did I believe it for so long? And why did it scar my brain for so so long, but it did. And again, maybe it's because of my autism or my neurodivergent brain, where I wasn't able to process information in the same way. So then I really truly believed that I was a monster. It's so weird because I know I'm not a monster, but I relate to monsters. Anyways, having said that, when things come up like this, like sexual abuse or pedophiles or mass murderers or stuff like that, the first thing my brain does is like, why are you doing that? Can I talk to you, please? Because I want to understand why you're doing that. And so then the other day I was like, because I wanted to split this video up into two. I was like, what exactly do I want to talk about here? How is this going to help you? Because I'm going to wait for the plane to go by just in case you can hear it. So I have this thing, I don't know if it's a gift or not, right? But I'm able to just get into people's brains sometimes. So if I was like, oh, what would Princess Diana advise me? I would pretend that I was her, and then I'll start saying things that Nayna wouldn't say. And sometimes they're really clever things that I don't think of myself. And if I'm pretending to be somebody else, then I could think like them. So I was trying to do this the other day with pedophiles. I'm so sorry. Because I know people are like, burn them, die. And of course, we don't want pedophiles in this world, but this is why we're having this conversation. And I'm going to get to why we're having this conversation. And I was trying to get into a pedophile's brain. And it's not always pedophiles who do sexual, no, but it is, because that's why it's called sexual abuse, because it's an adult. Actually, I don't know. If it's child on child, like the guy from the story time, is it also sexual abuse when you're both children? I don't know. I'm not sure what these words means. I should have done my research, but I don't care about research because they piss me off anyway. So I was trying to perceive, why would a pedophile or a sexual predator want to be a sexual predator? And the first thing that happened is that my heart started panicking, because it's I don't want to. I don't want to go into their eyes because they're scary. What? You want to touch children, and that's so scary. And why would you do that? And so then my heart started beating really fast. I don't want to do this. But obviously, because my brain is an OCD brain, it's no, you're going to do this because we have to talk about this and we have to try to heal this problem. So then I allowed myself to go into it. And well, before I start talking about that, let's talk about what's happening. Because if you've clicked on this video, or if you're watching this video, that probably means that you were sexually abused as a child, that somebody touched it that they wasn't supposed to touch you, or you had experiences very, very young that you deem not appropriate. And because my experience, again, I'm going to try not to talk about my experience, but my experience was a bit different than what I think other people's experiences was, because I think that there's so many people out there who was like, no, Nayna, I didn't want it. I asked them to stop. They didn't stop. It was rape. It was this. It was that. It was horrible. It hurt. I hated it. And now I'm scared of everything because of it. So no, it wasn't the way that your story was. It was actually just absolutely disgusting and terrible. Because I think that there's people out there who, like me, I was awakened sexually, and then I wanted to experiment. So whatever, even if it was an adult and he wanted to touch me, I'd be like, yes, please, because I want to, I was introduced to the feeling of the clitoris, so then I was almost wanting it. Obviously now as an adult, I'm like, well, that was a bit wrong. I was very young and you were not young whatsoever, and I think that that's a little bit wrong. But when I was a child, I didn't see it as wrong because I didn't know better. I was searching for something and somebody offered it to me, and I was like, okay, I'll take it. And actually, I think this is why they call it grooming, because you groom the person into it, so they don't know any better. You convince them that what is happening is okay, and then they start to respond almost in a positive way towards it, okay, yes, we can do this, yes, I want this too, because you've groomed them to believe that's what they wanted. And that was my experience of it. I was introduced to sexuality, and then I wanted it, and then I got it, and though some of the experiences were scary, I thought it was my fault because I was intrigued by it and I wanted it to happen. So my son, he has a way different expression as a human. He wants all pedophiles to just burn and die. He wants all bad people to just burn and die. He doesn't have my brain where I'm like, yeah, but why are you doing that? What's your problem? How can we fix this? How can we burn this out of the world? And so then I was discussing it with him because I said that I was going to do this video, and he was a bit scared that I was going to talk about this subject. But we was discussing it, and I was saying to him, because either we're born innocent and we're made into monsters, because let's be real, if you're doing things that are hurtful, you're a monster. And So either we're born monsters or we're made into monsters. And if we're born monsters, that's even a bigger contradiction, because especially if you're religious and you believe in God, because then that means then that God created you to be a pedophile. He created you to be a mass murderer because you were born this way. So then God is the one who takes responsibility. Why do I always film when it's like rush hour for the planes? And it's definitely a harder pill to swallow if you were made to be this way, if you were born to be this way. So then that means that it was intended for pedophiles and murderers to exist. And so then that's an even bigger thing. So I hope that that's not what it is. And so then you can't have been born that way. Otherwise, God is the one responsible and intentional behind such a creation. So I definitely don't want that to be true. So I prefer to think that monsters are created and made. And if they're created and made, this is why it's important to have a conversation. And somebody like me, I'm not scared. Even though it's like horrific and my heart will be beating really fast, I will still continue to have a conversation, because I want to stop making monsters. How did we make monsters? And the thing is, I think that the whole world is so like behind in this regard, because we're not taking responsibility for what's happening. Like, for example, we make horror movies. And loads of people love horror movies. I hate horror movies. I've not watched horror movies, I think, in over 20 years or something. It's been 20 years since I've watched a horror movie. I hate horror movies. We think it's entertaining, but guess what? These primitive brains, which can be made into monsters, they are getting inspired. And there's a reason why they're getting inspired, which I want to get into, but they're getting inspired by these actions. And yes, you don't get inspired by the actions. You're just entertained by it. Like, oh, this is scary. But somebody else who doesn't have the right surroundings around them, the right information, the right feelings, the right protection. There's so many things that goes into making a healthy human. And if that is not surrounding this human, then they're going to get inspired by these things. So then we think it's entertaining to have horror movies when really they're inspiring the next generation of serial killers and murderers. And that's exactly what we're doing. And you might say that is the responsibility of the mother and the father to do that. Like, let me enjoy my horror movies, because that's not my fault. It's the mother and the father of that thing, but of that person. But I can't begin to think that way, because I see the world as a one piece. I'll see us all as one. So if I'm here and you're a monster, I'm responsible for that monster, even though I didn't bring you up. I didn't tell you to be a monster, but I'm here alive with you. And what can I do to make you not a monster? So I want to understand how these monsters are born, and why they don't have specific intelligence in their brain to make different decisions, and why they're inspired to make these decisions. So, which brings me to the point of me trying to perceive this, what a paedophile would think of. And the only thing that I could, and I'm so sorry that this is now going to become a bit gruesome, but the only thing I could think of is that the world, okay, I'm going to pause again because I just want to say something. I do not condone paedophiles, please, not even a little bit. I think it's very, 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 very sad. I'm just want to try to perceive through their eyes to see how we can heal the monster, right? I think that the monster has believed that the world is monstrous, therefore I am a monster because the world is monstrous. And then they seek, it's almost like they want to feel the innocence, because the world is so horrible, they are horrible, everything is horrible. If I can just have this innocence. And where do you find the innocence? Where do you find the purity? Where do you find the least monsters? In children. So then now your focus is on children, because of this innocence, this feeling that they give you of innocence. And now you want it, you crave it. But why does it become sexual? And I think it's because the expression of a human, and maybe that's it. Like, some humans, they express through sexuality. Some humans express through music. Some humans, I don't know, but I certainly express through sexuality. As soon as I fancy somebody, I want to touch them. As soon as I fancy their face, I want them to touch my vagina. I don't know why. I am a sexual person. So you would say that I express myself sexually as a main point of expression. That's not true though, because I express myself in art as well and creativity, but I definitely express myself in sexuality. So then one, you're a monster, the world is a monster, and then now the children are giving you this innocence that's missing inside of you and inside of the world. So now you're interested in the children, and because you're a sexual person and that's how you express yourself, you now marry the two together of sexuality and the innocence of children that I like. I now want to join them together because this is my character. I express in sexuality, and this is how I'm going to make myself happy. And I don't even know if they, and this is why I would want to speak to somebody, because I don't even know if they think that they're making themselves happy. But you are, because you're fulfilling something in yourself that you desire. And you're desiring this innocence of a child, and you're desiring to touch them. And here you are making it happen, giving yourself the gift that you think that you're feeling that you want. I don't know if you're intelligent enough. I don't know if these people are intelligent enough to understand that these are the steps that's happening, that you're fulfilling this feeling inside of yourself, and there's nobody around you to try to explain that to you, to make you not go down that road to begin with, or to make you understand that first of all, no, the world is not a monster, no, you're not a monster, no, so let's not go down that road to begin with. Yes, children have innocence, but so do adults, and yes, it's very washed out, but it's not true. We're not monsters, you've just turned into one. And so then we rob the innocence from children, and then some of them, they become intrigued by it, so then they're like, oh, you're not stealing nothing from me, I want this. This is interesting, this is intriguing. And then some children are like, no, this is scary, I don't like this, please stop it. And regardless of what one it is that you are as a child, the predator, the monster, is going to continue to get what it wants, because it sees itself as a monster, because it is turned into a monster, and it wants what it wants. The innocence mashed with the sexuality, mashed with the fact that we're slaved in this world, and now all of a sudden I have control over something that I'm not supposed to have control over, which gives me this euphoric feeling of control, because I'm not supposed to have this control, and here I am having this control. So then I'm, it's almost like the Matrix, where like I'm bending the rules where I'm not supposed to be bending the rules, and here I am, all powerful, being able to bend the rules. So in your face, monster, I've been able to bend the rules, and now I'm doing something that I'm not supposed to be doing, and I have full control over it, and it's feeding this like innocence that's missing inside of my body. But let's back it up a little bit, and let's just go away from pedophiles for a second, because that's just stressing me out now that I've said the word so many times, and it's just like, I don't know, very heartbreaking that these things are happening, right? So let's stop with pedophile for a minute, and just let's talk about monsters in general, right? I don't think this world has done a good job whatsoever to teach humans how to love other humans. And we actually don't. We only talk about marriage, we only talk about families, and how the man's supposed to have a job, the woman's supposed to be at home and cleaning and cooking and taking care of the children, and the man's gonna do this. Like, we don't teach what it is to actually care for one another. And nowadays we're starting to do it much more, but our school systems and the religious systems, they're fully talking about other things, like maths, like I keep saying in all my videos, maths, English, science, that's what we talk about. We're not teaching how to really, really care, and what that means and what that feels like to care for another human. Because if you care, and if you have a soft spot for other people, you're not going to do things to them that hurt them. And if you care, you're going to see yourself as innocent. You're not going to see yourself as a predator. So if you're not caring, and you don't know how to care, and you've not been taught, and nobody's talking about care, and it's not being put into your computer, because this is a computer, and somewhere in the computer you have broken and it's gone wrong. So why has it gone wrong? And nobody's trying to fix the computer. Now they just want to kill off the monster. Now they just want to punish the monster, instead of trying to understand how the monster is being able to be born in the first place, and what can we do to stop creating monsters. Because when you care for something, you're not going to harm it. And we know that, even if it's an animal, or if it's your PlayStation, or if it's something that you truly really care about, you're not going to harm it, unless you're having an attack of anger, which again comes down to the monster again, because this world is so monstrous and I'm so angry at this world. Then I'm going to break the things that I care about, because now the anger is so big that now, because then the thing that I care about is fake. So in the middle of the anger outbursts of like, I hate this world is monstrous, I hate it, now the thing that you like so much is actually fake. Because it's like, you're trying to trick me. You're trying to trick me to believe that this world is good when it's not. So I'm going to break you too. And then afterwards, when you've calmed down and the anger has calmed down, you regret it, because you're like, oh wait, I prefer for me to not have broken my PlayStation in anger. And nobody's teaching, and nobody's talking about these things. And furthermore, we're not changing the world either, because we're not supposed to be living like this, like in this monstrosity of a life where we don't have places to go. know people to see. I wake up to the same bed years and years, to the same family, to the same problems in this family. I can't go to India, I can't go to Australia, I can't go to the top of the mountain where all I'll see is green or all I'll see is ocean and the sun is beaming and the birds are singing. No, I'm stuck in London where the planes are always on, people are always angry outside, and there's always like horns in the street of angry people beeping their horns in a car, and this is what I'm surrounded by, and I don't have an option to, I don't have money in my account that I can just go to experience this like peacefulness that we're supposed to be experiencing, this euphoricness. So the world has been constructed in a way that creates monsters and that they keep them there. And if you're strong enough, then you're not going to create monsters. And if you're wise enough, you're not going to create monsters. So you're going to fight against the system and not create monsters. But unfortunately, not a lot. Some brains are not that easily enslaved, or they're not that easily, I don't know, following a formula. So then they step out, and they either step out as a rebellious person who wants to change the world, or who wants to become a criminal, or they step out in terms of these unnatural ways of being a pedophile or a mass murderer, right? Because we're not teaching care, because care would not be a pedophile, care would not be a mass murderer, because care would mean that if you cry, I cry. If you hurt, I hurt. If you're sad, I'm sad. And if I care for myself, which that's what kindness is, and that's what care is, like I care for you and I care for me, then I'm not going to want to feel that way. And I'm not going to want to cry because you're crying. I'm not going to want to have this experience. So then I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that it doesn't happen, because I don't want to feel it, and I don't want you to feel it, because I care about myself and I care about you. So let's conclude what we're trying to say here in the conclusion part of this video. So I watch like so many podcasts and interviews and stuff, and there's a lot of people who seem to want to, and maybe I'll do it myself, and I hate that I would do it myself, but they try to say the right things and advise people, and they just always miss out like really particular important information. And I think that that's what we do. Like if you've been abused and it has affected your adult life, and now you can't have people touch you, and now you don't want relationships, and now you're scared of like every man or every woman, you don't know how to like fix it, and then you go to a therapist, and then the therapist tries to tell you that it was wrong, that it shouldn't have happened to you, and that it was wrong. And still, so you're glad that you had somebody to speak to, and you got this thing off your chest, because now it's not a secret anymore. Somebody knows about it, and now you know that for sure that it's not wrong, but you still feel uncomfortable. And I think it's because we're not really getting down to the information that you really, really need in your brain to comprehend what it is that happened, both to you and to the person who did those things to you. Because even though you know that it was wrong, you're still going to look at humans as if like, oh, you're capable of doing something wrong. So how do I know if you're that type of person or not? And that's my biggest fear. And I don't even want to put this out into the world, but my biggest fear would be that I would, and I hope that I would be intelligent enough to never experience this, but to have a boyfriend or a guy in my life who was secretly a pedophile, that would actually be the most horrific thing that I could ever experience. And there's loads of horrific things out there, but I think that that's like my biggest, like, worst nightmare, is that I would ever allow somebody, fall in love with them, and then it turns out that you're a pedophile. I think I'll actually lose my mind. And I feel very, very bad for people who go through such things, right? But I think that we don't get over things properly is because we're not really comprehending what it is that happened, because you have to be able to look at humans and really understand what's happening. And if you're still confused every time you look at a human, then you're not comprehending, you're not healed. So then of course you're going to be scared of them, even though you've done therapy, even though you've gone through the process and you feel much better, you're still scared of them because you're not comprehending them, you're not understanding, like, what are you? And so then I don't think we've dived deep enough to understand humans and how they're capable of doing what they're doing. And so then you could look at somebody and go, no, you're different. And you know what? Sorry, I paused there, and I'm not even going to finish that, because actually we are in a state in the world right now where we don't know if we can trust humans or not. And so then you are valid to carry these scars and not be able to understand humans properly. But we need to change the world. we need this to change. We need to be able to heal people, to be able to teach kindness, teach care. So then you know that that person next to you or whoever you're looking at is going through the same process as you, learning how to care, learning how to love. And also all of the educations about lying and about what people think and about their behaviors. Because if you really paid attention to certain things, you'd be able to suss them out. And also, if you have a child and they've been abused, where is the telepathy, of this telepathy that comes into your brain, like, oh, something is wrong, go and check on your child to make sure that your child is safe. And we don't have that. And that must be also a horrific thing, to be a mother and know that you wasn't able to protect your child and something was happening right under your roof and you wasn't able to. And then some parents don't even care, unfortunately. So I don't think that healing is just about saying, oh, this is wrong, it shouldn't have happened, this is wrong, this is not your fault, this is wrong. I don't think that is the only step required for healing. I think that comprehending things and also then teaching new ways for the whole entire human race is how we're going to heal these problems. Otherwise we're going to keep creating monsters and then what? We're just going to keep being scared of each other and hating each other because there's so much hate in this world already, and we're just going to carry on going down that road because we don't know how to teach love and care. All right, well, let's move on to the quote of the week. So this one's going to be really quick because it's the same guy from the YouTube that came up on my page. He said that to be brave is to actually talk about it. To be strong and brave is to talk about it. Because some people will say like, oh, you endure something, meaning you don't speak about it. You just get rid of it in your head. And that's strength, where you're able to just like live with something and still be able to proceed in life without it affecting you. And that's strength. Right? But he was saying that no, bigger strength is to actually face it, look at it, bring it forward, talk about it, voice it out to people. That is even more strength because it's so scary to say certain things, especially if it's like your dad who abused you and you're so scared to actually tell somebody that this happened. And these are horrific things. So you are stronger and you are braver when you actually talk about things rather than not talking about them. And that's what he said. Okay, let's close this video. I don't feel lighter. Usually, like when I finish the video, I feel like lighter. And this is not a light subject. This is very, 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 very sad. And we're creating monsters and we're doing disgusting things, and not just sexually, but with everything. We're doing disgusting things. We don't care. We're not perceiving from other people's perceptions. We don't care about them. I was saying to my son that like, because I hear siblings talk about each other and they're like, yeah, I would die for my sister. And I was like, what does that feel like? To have somebody love you so much and they say like, yeah, I'll die for my sister. I don't know what that feels like. And so then I know that life is very sad because of course I want somebody to love me like that. Wouldn't it be nice for somebody to go, yeah, I'll die for Nayna? Like who? I don't get out much anyway. I don't have much friends, but the ones that I do have and the family that I do have, they will never say something about me like that. Yeah, I'll die for Nayna. and I feel sad because I would love that. And I see it on TV with people who have these families who would die for each other. And it's like, oh, well, I want that. And so then we do live in a very, very sad world where these things happen. You are sexually abused by really inappropriate people. And then you have scars when you grow up. And then you start to question your sexuality because of it. And then you just don't know who you are. But we have to take control of the world. The people who are leading it, what's the word that I learned the other day? Because I'm so weird like that I just don't know what these things mean. And then I find out what they mean because I look into it. But I have zero interest in them. That's why I don't know what they mean. But I learned a new word. I didn't learn it because I already knew it, but I learned what it meant. Capitalism. I've always heard that word, capitalism. What does it mean? Does it mean like the capitals of all the countries? Capitalism. Is it like having a capital? Or is it like captains of the sea? No, capitalism means none of that. It means that we run the world through profit. So then and that's what it is. Business and profit. That's what capitalism is. And that's how we run the world. And that's the biggest main leader. And that's what's controlling the whole entire world. So, and these people who make these decisions, who allow capitalism to lead, are leading the world. And then people like me, who I would never allow capitalism to heal the world. I'm stuck in my bedroom with no money in my account, with no followers online to influence any change. And then here I am just crying every day. Do you know how many times I've cried already this year? So today is the 15th of January, 2025. And I think I have cried way more than I cried in like 6 months of like one of the years of my life. I've cried so much already this year because I don't know why. Like everything is so heavy. Everything is so heavy. And here we are being led by capitalism. And guess what? And I think I read somewhere that like some people, I think like if you commit a crime of some sort, you get life imprisonment. If you murder somebody, you get life imprisonment ×3 or something, like 3 life sentences. I don't know what they say. But if you're a pedophile, you get 10 years. Or if you've been caught doing something to a child sexually, you get 10 years. So a lot of these people are doing these things in the background because you're leading this world in this monstrous way where capitalism is the leader, and then you're looking for innocence, and then you go and do stupid things that are harmful to innocence. And instead you should have people like me leading the world, where I wouldn't allow capitalism to be the boss or to even exist in the first place, and then I'll be teaching you how to care and teaching you about your innocence, so then you don't go looking for innocence outside of yourself, and that you care for things and you wouldn't damage them and you wouldn't hurt them. And that's what we're missing. So I don't know, I hope I have inspired you to change the world, or inspired you to look deeper in yourself. Or if you are a monster yourself, I hope that I have inspired you to go into your brain and start fixing your brain, so you're not a monster, and we don't create monsters anymore, and we don't continue to act like monsters anymore. And I hope that that's what I've done today. It's been a very, very uncomfortable, I don't know if it's uncomfortable. It's not uncomfortable because I'm fine talking about this. I think it's just going to be uncomfortable to actually post it and just to know that it's out there. Me talking about these things. But here we are, and I want to change the world, and here we are. So please, let's change the world. Please, let's stop creating monsters, and let's stop putting monsters under the rug and just saying, do you deserve to burn in hell? Well, let's stop creating them, please. Because hell, well, I don't know why fire reminds me of hell. Because maybe burning alive is in hell, but hell, it's not even real. So what? Well, actually, it's not real to me. I'm sure it's real to other people. But I don't know if that's a bit rude. Sorry for being rude. Okay, right. I'm gonna go. I'll be back. I don't know if I'm gonna talk about this in my next video or not, but I'll be back. Okay, right. Love you. Bye.